Yeah, groundbreaking.
How's it going, Harish? Welcome to the
Fantastic.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, this has been a cold week because I come from Chennai. So
Yeah.
Bangalore is a cold place.
But I think it's probably the most hottest place in the country I've visited.
Chennai?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Definitely top 5.
But only thing I oh, which one's the top one?
Delhi, you'll feel more.
That's actually not true. You know, like
Ahmedabad,
Ahmedabad. I've never been
Rajasthan.
there. But I think there's something with Chennai that like makes it even. Yeah, it's just. I remember going to Chennai for 2 days for an interview. It was at Kanchipuram, and I think I could just got out of Chennai. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm from Delhi. I know, like how hot it can be. The time I got out and spent like 20 minutes just going out to the airport,
You
finding a
melt.
taxi, I was like, what is this, man? Like, what is this kind of odd? But yeah, I'm sure that like the weather is beautiful. I'm sure you're
Yeah,
having a good
absolutely.
time. So, Harish, to kick it off, like, if you could, let us know more about yourself, what you've been doing, what you're trying to do, like a quick introduction.
Absolutely. I think it's been a 2012, say, in 2025, 13 years journey in a very abstract field called as design. My very first entry into design started with music. My school days. The first goal was to become a music director. Then I landed in college, and that in college introduced me to photography. Photography introduced you to Photoshop. And photography, Photoshop, DSLR introduces to video short films. Now that music connects. So now this streams of arts connects together in helping you make a course artifact or videos, short films, small pieces, posters, and all that stuff. Slowly, the time that I joined my college. The college had a huge demand for design because we were the second founding batch in the college. So there was a demand for design and designers and stuff, and that is when I realized that whatever we were trying to learn and mimic, iterate from YouTube has a real value in the world. Because 2011 and 12 is the time when we used to look into YouTube. What is it? The Upzido website for templates and all that stuff, right? All that you do is download the template, tweak it, and use some filters in Photoshop and does something. So my journey started first into graphic design. That is when one person came to me and said, "Can you do a poster for us?" I said, "Yeah, definitely I'll do, but probably this week there is some work and of course I'm studying as well. So next week I'll do." They said, "No, I'll pay you 500. Like, wow, someone is paying you. Because at that point in time, you were a very naive, new designer. When I was not introduced to freelancing as a concept itself. But I found it very fascinating because you're doing something that you really like, and there are resources that exist outside, and you are mimicking it or using it, getting inspired from it, and people are paying you money for it. And then I said, okay, I'll do it today only. And then I did something today. And then a couple of weeks later, they came and they said, we need another poster. Then I said, okay, now I'll do 1,000 rupees. And they said, okay, I'll pay you 1,000. Then I'm like, holy shit, now you got scammed. You should have charged 1,000 back. Over a period of time, this loop kept happening. And then 1,200, 1,500, 2,000. Slowly, I kept kind of increasing the proof. But it led to a revelation that, okay, you are doing something. Someone is paying you and you are slowly increasing it. That means they are getting something more out of it. What is it? Which is when somehow I landed upon this. McKinsey launched a thesis called as business value of design. We all know design verbatim more as a visual stuff. You see brochure, this, that, etc. That's what we think is design. But that's probably one of the articles that I kind of very clearly remember in my mind that gave me a paradigm shift that boss design is more of a strategy or a thinking model that allows you to create value for businesses or organizations or a society. And then you kind of understand the ecosystem of you make a poster that feeds into a campaign. That campaign leads to some conversion. That leads to some money coming in. So you are slowly adding value to the larger goal. That is when I said, okay, freelancing is something that you should probably pursue or explore. Starting from my first, second year of college, proactively started freelancing. And then by the time I graduated, we had done enough work. Slowly the scale of the project increased. Then I pulled in some juniors, seniors, friends, and then created a Facebook page. It was an Orkut page, then Facebook page.
Damn, Orkut sounds quite old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a transition time of when Facebook was kicking in. And then by the time we graduated, then slowly got into video production, after movies, this case study, testimonial videos. Then we were doing social media. Basically design, we see it from in a very unilateral approach. But anything that you do in the space of art, crafts, media, you apply the same process of thinking about the user. What do you want to say? What is the goal you want to achieve? Then decide the medium and then think what you should say in the medium, blah, blah, blah. So dabbled across everywhere. 2018-19, we kind of niched into a brand design studio. Then 2022, we rebranded ourselves, what was previously called as Frozen Iris, to become, because from 2012 to 2019 was full of experimentation, understanding the market, different segmentation, different kind of people, etc. So that gave a good understanding of what you are good at, what the market actually needs, and what passion you have actually in solving for it. And all of that kind of nailed it to design for organization, design for brands, and what it can do for them, finally leading to the public, right? So 2022, we repositioned ourselves as Become, which is a strategy design consultancy, primarily helping organization in finding their positioning and applying that positioning across all the channels. So that is what, that's been the last 10-12 years ka journey. Yeah.
I've just realized that this is the second time I'm having like kind of a podcast with you, right?
Was it?
Yeah, the one we had at ADP, right? If you remember.
Oh yeah, you were the host. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that. Yeah. I forgot you were the host.
Yeah, that's what I was like, okay, I think I've heard about it a bit.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So you basically saw it coming. One thing led to another, and you saw an opportunity. So was it? I'm just curious, like, why design? Why around? And why was it because of you were getting a lot of work from them, or a lot of inquiries, or that was you had your personal bias there?
It wasn't of course there is a bias, but it was probably not an intuitive bias. Probably it's just there in you don't realize it. But the fact that I started with a small poster from the first engagement, it was always designing for something. That something is an institution or an organization. The brand naturally came into that fact. I was never in the space of creating something for myself, because the first ever project that I did itself was that 500 rupees poster I did for the college, right? So probably that it's a good question, kind of ingrained in me, that you use design as a problem-solving thing to help someone meet a certain goal. And that someone is never you. That someone is always someone else.
Yeah.
Because there is also a value creation that was happening. And also my thought was, what more or what else you can do so that you can create newer value for people, thereby you get a transaction back. So that process was very fascinating. And hence, there was also no limitation that you should not do video, you should not do social, you should not do something. Tried everything the first probably 5, 6, 7 years. Did whatever, did product, did development, did how to go viral in Twitter. What is the thing called? Trending one, right? So helping brands trend number one in Twitter. Those are certain kind of things that we have done long back. So dabbled everywhere. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. There was this, and what you were doing all of this from Chennai?
No, so all of this is happening in Delhi, Gurgaon.
Okay, so how? You studied in Chennai and then shifted to Delhi for work?
Post school, landed in Delhi for college. So this entire thing that I'm telling you is happening in Delhi. Till 2021, COVID was in Delhi. So that Chennai Abhi now last 4 years.
Yeah, only got to know about this yesterday. I think when you put up a
is
story
it?
with Apeksha.
Oh yeah, correct.
Then you mentioned, okay,
Yeah.
you were.
So our first office was in Chadarpur, home office.
Oh, lovely.
They called interns home. They
Lovely.
said, where is the office? No, I've just come home.
Yeah, Chhatarpur is a beautiful place
Yeah.
that way. What? So you never thought of going back to Delhi, or you was like, okay, Chennai is the calling, and you had maybe more people in Chennai you knew.
No, moved back to Chennai for different reason. I never, my conscious growing up did not happen in Chennai. From college for the next 10 years, fully it was Delhi, right? Chennai is what mentally is home. So you want to come back and experience that. Because even during college, my trips are super short to home. So I thought we'll spend. Anyway, and then we went remote. So teams went remote. There was no purpose of hanging in there. So moved back. Now 3-4 years. Then very not so naturally set up an office in Chennai because I like working in office spaces, not at home. Then now we have a team there. So now there is a physical office, physical team, and there is a remote team as well. Yeah.
And why do you feel the need to change the name? Just curious about that. Why did you need to like reposition it?
So my first creative expression started as photography. And in 2010s, when all of us had a photography page, DSLR, phone camera booming, we all said name, photography. Harish Venkatesh, photography.
That's a very South Indian thing.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. Like I was in my college and I was like, no, I saw too many photography pages in my college time, and all of these people were from either from Chennai or Kerala, and like really good ones, by the way.
Yeah,
right. And I didn't see a lot of such folks, around Delhi.
So probably the network they had back then, I saw a lot of pages with the name. You wanted to do something different and better. That's when I came up with the name of Frozen Iris. One of my friend came up with the name Frozen Iris. And then we said, instead of calling your name photography, call it something else. Photography led to Photoshop, Photoshop led to posters, poster led to freelance. So people started knowing me as Frozen Iris itself. And then this entire 9 years journey fully happened in the name of Frozen Iris. So you had ended up working with 300, 400 people in this period, and different people know you for different things.
Yep.
Right? One person will say he's a videographer. Still some of my relatives say, you are doing photography, no? Now, Abhi, you are not doing.
Yeah.
Like I stopped long back, but people still associate you for a certain identity. So
must have been a tough call. Or no?
Definitely it was a tough call. Functionally it was easy. Emotionally it was difficult. Because you are also used to it mentally.
But it's your baby, right? In a way. Like, it's like you fostered it for years.
Correct. And you are living that identity. But it started affecting functionally from a utility standpoint because still when you are into brand, so we scan for niche and having a singular communication. And then when the referral started being diluted, 6 years later, someone will refer you for a video production project, which you don't do it anymore. So then we said, boss, we are not doing that anymore. We are something else now. So the evolution needed a refresh and a re-announcement and a rebrand.
Yeah.
And then the name Frozen Iris also doesn't stand the waters now because it was freezing what you see through the iris photography. That was the concept. Now we are more into creation and positioning brands. So you also wanted to have something that's more easy. And Frozen Iris as a term is not in your everyday vocabulary. So it was hard for people to remember it. Some people are saying frozen something. No, you are iris. No, I said yes. Whatever you say, that is correct. Then we said we will go to something more easy.
So you basically put your expertise to your own self, and it's like,
which is the most difficult part.
That's I mean, I keep talking to a lot of people, and they're like, oh, we are the problem solvers, we are the design thinkers, but we don't know how to, like apply to our own self. And even if they want, they don't. Like, I mean, we need to, a lot of time we need to see it from a very foundational level, and see things from that angle. So what kind of projects did when you were repositioned? I'm just want to understand like your journey from this. I'm sure it was like a big lane switch. What kind of projects you were getting, or was it like because of the projects you were getting, you reposition, or repositioning came first and like the kind of projects you were seeking came later?
Couple of factors mixed together. The first one, when you look at the first 8 to 10 years journey, did a lot of things. And then when we looked back, the last 4 years, at that standpoint, we had done a lot of branding and rebranding. We made a huge list. And then when we actually looked back, out of that around 50 to 60 brands that we had created or co-created, a huge percentage was rebrands. It was not new brands. So that led to a thought that should you call yourself a rebranding design studio? But that sounds very weird as shit. And when you go to SEO and search, look at the search trends, etc., no one comes and says rebrand design studio. People come as a brand studio and then they come and ask you, will you do a rebrand for us? But again, calling yourself a brand design studio looked very synonymous to what others are saying. So you want to establish the fact rebranding. So there was a brief point in time where we are saying we are a brand design studio who rebrands brands. There was saying it very loosely, but this was a period, transitionary period that we had. But when we were focusing on rebrands, that is when it led to the thought that people are trying to rebrand because they want to reposition themselves from a category A to category B or a perception 1 to perception 2. So it is not actually rebrand. Rebrand itself becomes a process, but the goal is actually reposition themselves in the minds of their customer.
Yeah.
Then we started dwelling deep into what positioning is from framework standpoint, book knowledge, process, delivery, all that aspect. Which is when we got introduced to certain people, certain mentors, certain veterans. And then we realized that throughout our journey from the start from 2012, 2013 itself, we are being very, very heavy on process, framework led. This is a very common fact in our design industry that the clients wanted to put orange color, they want to put green color, and then so many conversations happen, and then designers don't get the freedom to do it. Somewhere we kind of grew out of that challenge much faster, much early, because the process was very clear where it was a brief, it is the data, it is the user who informs how this step has to be. And in every step, we took certain objective decisions that automatically pushes the client to take a decision on the next step. So it was a very easy step-by-step mechanism where actually the client decides what has to be done in accordance with the team. And most of the time, everyone is in alignment. We started seeing this as a pattern and we were very, very heavy on the process. Of course, the timeline were slightly longer because we work only in that process. So that was a positive, that was a negative as well. So this helped us understand how we think, what we believe in, and our approach towards crafting a certain thing in a very, very vivid, factual way. Because this existed, when we realized this positioning aspect of brands, it became much easier to scale our process and dive deep into the positioning aspect of it. Today, when you look at, let's say, a Parle-G versus a Good Day, both are two distinctive brands.
Yeah.
They have a unique ICP. They have an overlapping ICP as well. But at different point in time, a different mindset, the same customer may end up choosing different things. But they also have a customer who will only buy Parle-G. They also have a customer who will only buy everyday, that Good Day biscuit. That comes as an everyday value. Parle-G is more as an affordable attribute. So that's how we kind of got into this space.
I love the clarity behind the journey. And what kind of role you were playing
My
for
role
this time? Yeah.
The first couple of years, it was me trying to dabble every single thing. I'll do sales, I'll do project management, email, documentation, designing, developing, every single thing, including going and shooting the testimonials with customers. So it was a one-man army for a significant long period of time. But in the teething stages, you will hit the burnout very easily. But because of the passion that you have, you will still continue to push. But by the time our team started growing 10 people, 12 people, that behavior automatically will start crippling others. You will change. But over a period of time, I have grown more into taking care of sales, marketing, BD, and a good amount of QA or creative direction for the team. And I handle now digital, while the rest is being handled by my co-founder. Yeah.
Got it. So you were doing a lot of sales. Is that what you were doing right now?
Now like 90% of my role is primarily sales.
I think that's also the role that I gave myself. Again, I think it's very similar. I haven't been doing it for 10 years, but doing it for almost like four years, and I realized that I think this was a big unlearning. I realized that I should not be working in the business but on the business. I think that's where that's also the pattern that I see with designers doing freelancing and independent practices. Thing with I think it's always the sales issue, right? For a
Exactly.
agency to grow and stuff. What kind of, maybe if you would like to share like the ways you got clients on board. And I think you also mentioned when we had a chat a few months ago about you being to places to meet people and onboard clients and warming them up, building relationship and stuff like that. If you could like where did you, what worked for you the most? Like what were the few approaches? Because I think we need to talk about that as creators, that portfolio is not everything.
Absolutely.
It's the 10 other things.
Yeah.
Right. So just want to get your thoughts on it.
Surprising fact, most of the high value deals we have closed without showing our portfolio.
Yeah, right. That's true. I relate to that so much.
It might be the pattern for others as well. In the, I think, early days, it was deep curiosity and the fascination of what design can create for the customer. Of course, everyone starts as an amateur. So that fascination on, why are you asking me this? Why do you need a logo? Why do you need a website? Why do you need a campaign? How will this help you? What will you do with this? In case if it does not work, but you're still paying me, how do you make sense of that money? So the delayed curiousness kind of allows you to form a meaningful relationship with customer, but most of the customer also end up becoming friends or much more than acquaintance in your life. But over a period of time, that has evolved into a consulting experience, because in the space that we are in, what happens is people already have preconceived notions of what solutions they want. It is our job to dive deep and understand the holistic context that they are in and help them realize what is the real problem that they themselves are trying to solve for. In some cases, you might not be the person who can give that solution, which is totally okay. But at least helping them realize what is the right problem that has to be solved, I think, is my responsibility in my sales process. Almost every single person who gets in touch with us through inbound, they go through a series of conversation with me or some other critical members of the team, where it becomes a consulting experience where we walk them through the certain process, series of questions or interrogations, that they themselves realize what is it that needs to be solved. This process allows us to come up with a meaningful solution for them. This process allows them also to establish or explore fit with us. And after that, you get into scoping, proposal, negotiation, blah, blah, blah. But the first thing that I believe is very, 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 very important is understanding the full context of the client. We all get into, the Excel picture of the client is not paying me more than 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, whatever. But you need to dive deeper and understand how much do they have in their bank balance. What is the scale of the company? What is the problem they are trying to solve for? Is it a startup? Is it a legacy? It's a traditional company? Is it an enterprise? Because every single organization has different decision makers, different sales process. What you need to do for them is very different. So all that matters. So deep curiosity in the initial days, which over a period of time has evolved into genuine empathy for the client. You simply cannot fake. A lot of these junior designers come and ask me, how do I be empathetic with your client? Stand in their shoe, etc. I'm trying to do it, it's not working. Because we still try to fake that, but you simply cannot fake genuinity. 100%. When you really start caring for the other individual, I think naturally you start adding tiny bits of value that becomes trust.
100%, Harish. I think you also, so it's a lot of discovery. For sure. You need to, it's not just for you to find clients, but it's not it's also like a client fit check that you have to do,
Absolutely.
right? A lot of times,
Absolutely.
I think most of the times, it's
Yeah.
just you're not picking up the right clients.
Yeah.
I mean, this I've learned from my experience as well.
Yeah.
A lot of stupid things and a lot of naivety. Um, so yeah, I mean, a lot of discovery and understanding the customer. It's I think what also I've learned is to understand the organization that you're targeting, right? It's like for enterprises, you need to like make them believe that okay, we understand how things moves, right? But we can still collaborate and find ways to do things. Very very interesting journey, Harish. What about Frontrunner? I think it's the company that you recently founded.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the logo, by the way, and
thank you.
And the positioning that you put in it. Tell us more about that. Why did you see the need of starting another creative business? If
Yeah.
I'm getting it right.
Yeah. The same. Let's take the same concept of branding, right? As the company scales, and when you have frugal resources, limited team, lean team, we could not make ourselves available, accessible, and affordable for segments across the market. After being in the market for close to a decade, the idea stage and early stage startups, we didn't have much to offer to them because they can't afford the process and expertise that we have grown into. We also want to slowly start doing bigger, better work. But there was an innate cry that those startups actually need some design intervention that will be a significant value add to them. And in the the COVID period, we saw a huge amount of startups and ideas and technologists, engineers coming up with insane ideas from tier 2, tier 3 cities. On the other side, you also saw a huge amount of VCs who are scouting for good ideas, but this matchmaking was not happening at all. And then we attended some pitches, spoke to some of our clients, startups, etc. There is a founder who's trying to say something, an idea and a solution that they have worked on, and the VC is also trying to understand it. But both the parties are trying to put so much efforts genuinely from both the sides, but still the process is very, very hard because a VC looks at 200, 300 decks a day. An analyst looks at 200, 300 decks a day. Out of that, they hardly kind of filter 2 or 3 that goes to the next round or whatever, right? So that is where I realized that, boss, these early stage founders, they are damn good at this idea solution. Somehow it definitely cracked. They are genius in that space. But communication is an art and performance of its own. How you need to, when you use the word positioning, it is redefining the way that you introduce yourself to a certain community of people, which is what we say as market segmentation. You can apply that same concept for a startup as well, because your value prop to a customer is very different from your value prop for the investor, right? So a startup founder in an idea stage or an early stage goes and pitches the customer value prop to an investor is not able to make sense.
Yeah.
Or we all have a self-bias. So the founder is unable to see their own startup from a bigger lens as well, which is a great potential that will exist out there. But you work on something for 1 year and then you lose perspective of what more you are. That is when we realize that can we help them find their story? When we say story, their value prop, what is the articulated problem they're solving for? How are they different from others? Do they have a moat or not? What is the market sizing that they're trying to solve for? Because if you have this checklist of things that is articulated, then it becomes much easier for you to go and tell an investor that, boss, this is what I'm trying to do. If you don't even give them the first gift of being understood, then a conversation itself doesn't exist. So Frontrunner was the smallest gift that we can design in an affordable way so that we can still be of significant help to startups. That's why we say we make you investor ready, not investment ready. Investment ready means you have some numbers, some traction, blah, blah, blah. That is a result of an idea. But investor ready is a result of having clarity on what are you really trying to solve for and what is your difference. And this is a very teeny tiny 2-3 week exercise that we help them with a certain list of assets that puts these people in a different pedestal. And very surprisingly, when we look at most of our brand feedback that we received from our customer, they all said, we felt extremely confident going to an investor after the work. I really cherish that feedback, because if you can gift someone confidence, from there they will take care.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So whatever we say branding, you apply it from a storytelling perspective, give them how to introduce themselves. That seeds the confidence, and from there a founder will kick off. Yeah.
Yeah. Of the articulation and how you explained it. It's basically some kind of a positioning for young
Absolutely,
young
yes.
crew,
Yeah.
right?
And why we created two brands was Become was catering more towards enterprises. Our marketing, messaging, our tone, what we say, everything is focused for them. Where we don't cater a lot to startups, or at least late stage startups. Frontrunner was focusing more on idea stage, early stage, and also growth stage. So we want to create a startup focused brand with a different form of communication. So it made a lot of sense to have two separate identities, two separate owners, two separate processes, everything.
And it's a huge enablement, by the way. Like,
So, very shamelessly, I will say I'm very proud of the fact that we actually did it. And I was surprised to see the kind of impact that we could actually do for the startups. Very fascinating. Cumulatively, we raised around $75 million in less than 1.5 years' time.
wow.
Which apparent, as in we didn't raise, help them raise, but we didn't expect it will work so much, or something that's a deck is something that's so obvious to a designer. But when you convert it as a scalable solution for a startup, it creates magic, and it creates a society, not just a startup. So many deep tech founders are there. They are all technical geniuses, but they need our support to build in a new paradigm.
Yeah. And I think, bang on. That's what, like, we also closely work with VCs and stuff, and there has been a lot of so I think creative communication with all these tech and boring brands have it's just people are just getting more aware as to it's a missed opportunity if you're not doing it right. And I think VCs are also understanding them. A lot of VCs are repositioning themselves. Correct. And coming out as a cool bunch of folks.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. And they, most of the time, it's not just the idea, but they are putting money on the founder, putting money on the story.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to see how this is unfolding. So are you targeting so this is for Become and I'm assuming that in terms of the execution, it's very interrelated. Maybe similar people can give value to this other company as well. What kind of industry that you're working with at Become, and are you industry agnostic, or you work with specific industries that you understand better?
Yeah. Two parts question. There are two questions in the same thing. We don't interoperably change people, because Frontrunner requires very fast delivery, and the mindset of a designer is very different. You are not required to do exploratory, or in design we say diverge, right? Don't do it, because you're trying to piecemeal a very affordable, fast solution for a startup. You can't go to a startup and say, I'll take 2 months to do your deck. Market itself would have changed.
Yep.
Or the company would have been killed by now. I need money for survival, right?
It'll be obsolete.
So the goal is to give them super fast, of course, branded, good looking, visually communicating, compelling material that gives them the confidence to go and sell. So the mindset of designers, writers, communication strategists is very different over there, or expected to be different over there. While in Become, it is more of exploratory, detailed work, which requires a lot of attention and depth of time, depth of thinking. So we don't interchange people, or try to as much as possible. That's one. Second part of the question is for enterprise.
It was basically, I wanted to ask, are you targeting any specific industries?
Got it.
Majorly for Become.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't believe in being industry agnostic, but I also believe in coming up with varied perspectives. We do have certain verticals that we own and we kill it. The first one was technology. Now it has got significantly deeper into AI. We have already worked with the bucket of AI companies and now agentic AI companies. That has allowed us a deep understanding of the market, where the market is headed, consumer decision-making patterns, and matrix. That is very, very necessary, because when you're trying to communicate something, you need to understand the decision making behavior of the customer. So AI is one. Second is health tech. We have worked with, again, huge number of health tech companies, hospitals, blah blah blah. The third one is consumer goods. That's the third category, because the first two have a higher chance of being B2B, and the third one, consumer good, gives us a much more access to relating with people on ground in consumer goods, so that knowledge feeds back. So these are the three core industries that we possess deep expertise in. But that said, in a practical way, this will constitute to 75% of the project. The remaining 25% volume will still be agnostic. They'll come from some other industry, or electronics, robotics, or media and arts, entertainment. So we still do that, because you also don't want to keep doing the similar kind of work. But niching to certain sector will give you a huge advantage in making your work better, making your work faster, and also for the client to leverage you better. Because you don't need to keep doing the research again and again and again. You can start from a space of maturity, because you already would have done certain mistakes in the space. I think that's a big advantage.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've this one question is basically it's always very difficult to answer to the potential clients, as to show them the ROI of branding, positioning.
Yeah.
How have you been doing it?
Very good question. It's not so easy directly to answer.
Do you see like do you see a pattern where all of these people already know that there's a gap and then they are coming for you as a solution? Or
So it is not a causal thing that you can actually measure, right? But what happens is, so I heard this line from one of my mentors, really Pankaj. We can't promise results, but we will promise progress. That is what?
say that again.
You can't promise results, but you can promise progress.
Wow,
Right?
that makes sense.
No one can
Yeah.
say my company will grow 10x.
Yeah.
Not even the CEO or a board will commit, because so many variables exist. But what you definitely need to promise is progress, right? That is what a good branding and positioning should ideally aspire to do. Right now, we primarily work with a bucket of enterprise companies. At that point in time, there is no conversation on if branding is necessary. Only because they had chosen to invest on it and understand that aspect where we start. So that understanding and maturity is already there. Now, within branding, positioning is one small niche that starts much before branding. What is positioning? What is the segment of the market? And what is the mind space of category in that segment of market that they need to own in the minds of the customer? Take 2 minutes Maggi noodles, right? Cool. Let's say whenever Maggi noodles launched several decades back, probably. Whenever we think of food, it is either taste, quantity, price, delivery. Delivery is a very recent thing. These were the differentiating factors. But out of the blue, Maggi came up with the concept of cooking time as a factor. That is the deal breaker of the positioning that they kind of nailed. That translated starting from the name itself, right? I really love this example, because that kind of set the foundation for the brand for ages to come.
Yeah.
Couple of years back, so many allegations or facts or whatever was there saying Maggi causes cancer, blah, blah, blah. But still the audience was like,
Yeah, it was banned for some time, right? For a year.
It was banned for some time, but the moment they came back to market, it went out of stock. People were hogging on Maggi. So that's the kind of brand equity that the brand had built because of nailing the positioning, right? Because they knew huge amount of audience existed with this taste profile, and for them cooking then was a deal breaker. College, bachelor segment, or people who are adjacent to those years, for whom fastness was a matter. So that's how they nailed their positioning, and from there Maggi is now iconic. So we kind of operate in a space where the summary is they understand the value of branding And these companies understand the value of positioning also. Now, what is positioning? It is required at a critical point in time where, let's say, a company like a Bolfit that operates only in India or only North India, right? Now the company is growing into multiple markets, North India, South India, West, East, whatever, or adjacent countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Asia, blah, blah, blah. So now, can the brand have unified messaging across? Or should they have region-specific messaging? How do you manage all of that but still connect to the centralized narrative? Is your value proposition same in different geographies or different? Is your customer profile even the same across all things? So this is one critical point. Second, when there is a leadership change, right? Because different leaders see a different future and possibilities for the brand. So how should you operate? Or third one, if the market is becoming highly competitive, how will you go about doing it? Let's say Tupperware that got recently rebranded, being sold to as well.
Yeah,
right?
it got rebranded and kind of bankrupt.
Yeah, kind of.
And I think it's also a pattern that I've been seeing a lot of brands getting close to bankruptcy and
Correct.
rebranding themselves.
Correct. Because that's a new hope that you are trying to seed.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why I think about Jaguar.
I have a hope that Jaguar will succeed immensely, but let's see how they go about executing the new perspective.
You know,
that
they are
have.
looking for an agency to
I
onboard.
saw that post. But internally, shit ton of thing happens which does not surface outside. So I think
But it's such a crazy example, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they did something openly and like people roasted them, and now they are.
Yeah.
I can't remember something like that.
I think I'm kind of slightly. I don't recommend or encourage this roast because between an agency, consultancy, and the team and the board, I'm sure there is a series of conversations that would have happened, which by no means we will never understand or get to know as well. So some logical challenges would have existed on why it ended up in the way it ended up. But I still think in the way that they will go about executing it, it might still be a successful brand. Think of Nokia, right? Nokia rebranded, B2B of Nokia rebranded 2 years back, 2.5 years back. Again, the internet said, doesn't look like Nokia, blah, blah, blah. Now people have forgotten it. Right? And the language has scaled very nicely. I think in B2B world, they're still making success. But usually going back to your ROI question, whenever a repositioning or a rebrand happens, the general norm is the company should hit 2x of their revenue in 3 years timeline. That has been a norm. From one of the reports that I have read. That is a progress that we should definitely monitor. Right? That is a ROI that you need to monitor. And other factor, if you are trying to reposition yourself, there are some immediate KPIs that you can actually go about measuring. Your ability to attract qualified customers should increase because you are saying something accurate to a particular segment of the audience. If that messaging is being delivered properly, then only those kind of people should reach you or come to you faster.
Yeah.
So qualified leads should come to you faster, increasing qualified leads. Second one, if your messaging is accurate and you know the decision-making behavior of the customer rightly, then your closing cycle, sales cycle, conversion rate should increase, sales cycle should decrease, right? So these three are very quick symptoms or KPIs in which you can measure whether the messaging and the positioning that you have finalized on is working or not. You said, let's say you say, I did a great rebrand, usually kick-ass, my messaging is great, etc. But qualified leads are not coming, sales cycle has clearly elongated, and conversion rate has gone down. That means whatever we did miserably failed, right? So there are KPIs like this that you can use to measure quarterly basis if what you have done is working or not. There is a chance that it does not work, but you accept it, take the feedback, and then iterate. Design is an iterative process. So that's why you can't promise the result, but you will promise progress.
Yeah, I love it. Spot on stuff, Harish. So now we are talking about sales comfortably. I actually been seeing this pattern. I mean, a lot of it has become. So I think designers with this with sales skill is just it's an amazing pack, right? It's an amazing skill to have. What I've been seeing is that a lot of agencies, smaller agencies, are closing down.
Yeah.
A lot of freelancers are going to the jobs, and And actually, I've been seeing it happening quite a lot lately,
Yeah.
and a lot of very talented people.
Exactly. That's more
And
painful.
what I have found out is that maybe it was the sales that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the issue that they, because it's I think it's actually also crazy that a lot of design founders who was trying to do agency, they're very adamant of reaching out and out. It's surprising to me. Like, what's your take on that?
I was talking to Virus on the same thing yesterday. I relate to the same thought. It's more painful when you know some of your close friends who are damn good, extremely good, better than you as well. But they shut down. I admire some of their work. I think the first thing is the question that you asked me, you started this with this, why are you doing this? Running an agency is not everyone's cup of tea. First thing is we need to realize it. A lot of people that I get to, mentor or talk to young people, I don't want to work under someone, right? Or I want freedom.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a confusing statement.
it's a miserable place to say that this is the reason in which I'm doing something on my own. That's absurdly sad.
Because you need to have an ability to serve. Like, that should be, at least that's what.
So that is one, and much more than that. You running an agency is you being answerable to a lot more people than probably you just being an employee, getting an employment. And also at a young stage, let's say you are in 0 to 10 years of your career, you still have not understood how a sales work. This market segmentation is a very costly word. I've grown into fan of it. Even though we say startups, within startups there are so many niches. There are sectors. There are different use cases where design can fit into. You can have different models. There are now, a couple of years back, there was a trend where unlimited design, pay me a retainer. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Pay me $1,000, $5,000. I do unlimited stuff.
Yeah. We've been seeing it a lot because of this guy called Design Joy. I think a lot of, I keep seeing a lot of.
Exactly. So that's a different business model, value-based different design model, business model. So people, first thing is people really need to clarify, why am I doing this? Is it for me? And if it is for you, you need to think long term, because now that I've been doing this for a while, I've realized that this is a very, very long term game. You simply cannot run an agency only for a couple of years and say I'll become successful, because it's a matter of time, reputation, trust, credibility, etc. At my own early stages, I have found bigger brands where I can add significant value to, but because you have a perception of just being small, they don't want to work with you, and you end up losing the project. And at that stage, you don't also understand why they rejected you. That's a painful place to be. So one reason is, going back, really understand what it takes to run a studio. If you have to really understand that, you need to work somewhere else. See that cycle. The second one is give yourself enough opportunity to understand the customer. It can be by working somewhere, it can be being in networking events, or it can be through reaching out, or it can be reading reports, journals, magazines, newspaper, blogs, blah, blah, blah. Now podcast episodes, so many things are there. You need to do everything it takes for you to really, really understand the customer. And much more than that, understand the segments that exist in the market, what type of companies you want to target. How do I target them? These are all some basics. We have seen enough blogs of this, but still putting into practice is being very, very hard. You don't attend all the networking events, but in FOMO, we end up going to all meetups.
Yeah.
But is it helping your business? No, it is not. If you are focusing on startups, you need to go only to startup events. If you are focusing only on enterprise, and going to startup events does not make any sense for you, right? If your buyer is a product manager, then you need to go for that event, or probably some development events, right? So all this matters, but I don't think at an early stage we have that mental maturity or a clarity to understand it so that we can do sales. Because of that, what also happens is, in a couple of years, you start hating this design as well. Oh, I tried so much. I'm a great designer. People are not giving me work. It's a shitty field.
They make it all about their portfolio and work, and
that's very sad.
I think you need to detach yourself as well. If you're a designer trying to do sales, or maybe find a co-founder. Do you have a co-founder?
I do have a co-founder.
And you've always had a co-founder, or
no? I think 2012 to 2019, me and Indu, we kind of hated each other in college. because the way he works is...
You were studying together?
Yeah, we were in the same college. Some classes we were in the same class as well. His way of design is very different. My way of design is very different. So we didn't kind of gel well. But I admire his work, he admires his work, but these are two separate eccentricities. Probably end of the year, last year of college is when we got an opportunity to do something together. And then we both kind of reached out to each other saying, can we do this together? We did one work. And then that still is probably one of the most happiest and satisfactory work that we did in the last year of college. From there, we have been in touch, speaking, talking, ideating together, long calls, night calls, blah, blah, blah. He went on a different track, sociology, anthropology, energy economic policy. He is on a different understanding the society in a different paradigm of granularity. But meanwhile, I have been into the business of selling design for to various set of people. I have sold to traditional, I have sold to enterprise, I have sold to one-man army, different segments. And then 2018-19 is when he also felt that, okay, he needs to come back to design full-time. And by the time I had also reached a critical threshold where I realized that you can't keep doing everything. You need someone who can actually own it, and you need to own something if you really want to do something meaningful. Then I slowly started niching down myself into sales and marketing. And he started taking care of design. And now most of the design, he takes care of the delivery, thinking, training, nurturing, etc. Digital, I play a little bit of a part. And I fully take care of sales. So that's how it's working now. And that's a blessing, absolutely. Solo founders, I can't think of it.
It's not super difficult.
Huge respect to solo founders.
Yeah, I'm one of them. So how I've been trying to... So I think it's also about finding the right people to work. I think that's what has worked for me. I have a bunch of people who focus on the operations and stuff like that.
I want to add one detail over here. Is whether you're small, young, starting, etc. As designers, we get deeply passionate about our work, which I was also in the very early stage. But over a period of time, you realize that, boss, someone is paying you lakhs of money or crores of money to design something. You are solving their problems in their way. One of my favorite lines is, you are enabled and limited by your client, right? So you need to understand the boundaries of the client and know to work within it and know to maximize that. A lot of times we get very affectionate to our work and start blaming the client. Client is not approving this, blah, blah, blah. Arey boss, it is not your project. It is client's project. Right? You are here to solve their problem by articulating it, and most of the time the client knows what they want or what they are looking for, because they have huge contextual memory. You will never get that contextual memory. So your goal is to identify that and reach there faster and give it to them so that they can go ahead and start using it or put it in the market. So being so attached to your work also was detrimental to my growth back then, and now I moved away from that, and that's a big recommendation I want to put to people who are starting now.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Another thing that I've learned and unlearned is, I think agencies, just because the bar is too low or like it's maybe easy to kick off an agency, there's a plethora of them.
Absolutely.
And that's why you casually get a lot of hate. That here's another agency, you know. Like I've been to places, well, not often, but like I've been to places and ecosystem there. You're a service business. No, only product people, you know, and stuff like that. And especially when you're selling abroad, right? For example, I'll give you an example. There's one of the biggest agencies, advertising agency in the world. We closely work with them, but how this relationship started is because this very famous global creative director of that agency, who's based in Netherlands, I reached out to him because he gave a talk to one of my friend who was studying in the Netherlands, and he was like, you know, he was a really cool guy. You should reach out to him. I reached out to him, and I shared the kind of work we were doing, and he started with saying, "Hey, I'll be honest. I honestly don't expect a lot of great work from India. You guys are mostly famous for technical stuff, and it's surprising for me to." And this is actually not long ago. This is maybe like 2.5 years ago. Do you have that? I mean, now since you've been in the game for for a while. So there's a lot of recall, there's a lot of word of mouth. How have you overcome that, or do you think this still happens? And what are the ways that maybe you've been dodging it, or maybe that's a part of the process?
To getting inbound. No, is that the question?
Yeah, I mean both. Like even outbound, even if you showing interest to work with this very big enterprise in US.
I don't think we do that. We don't do outbounds. We have been quite lazy in evolving to start doing outbounds.
Oh, really?
Very
Very
surprising.
interesting.
So our growth has been limited and enabled by inbounds, right?
And a lot of referrals as well.
Yeah, this 13 years of survival only in referrals, which also puts you in a very interesting spot that you need to keep delivering good work for the cycle to work.
Yeah.
So you don't have an opportunity to do a flop show, which is a interesting place to be. We have also seen a pattern that the moment one or two projects goes bad, you don't do great, your referral stops. Right? We have seen that phases as well. So that's very motivating and responsible.
Yeah.
To ensure that if the entire collective has to run, the collective has to run. It's not one or two people who has to be the superstars, but every single person needs to start doing it. Back to your question on how do you run this inbound, right? This again was a paradigm shift for me. I was speaking to another person, and then he said that why can't you automate referral as a system? I went to one person who is a business coach, and then I asked him that, boss, I've been fully inbound. I'm fearful that referral will not come, and you'll be doomed. What do you do? So I want to do outbound. And this guy asked me, okay, but why can't you automate inbound? Can you do that? But that gave me a series of thoughts from that conversation. I'll tell you a certain use case. I had spoken to a set of senior people 4 years back, 3-4 years back. And we have had a WhatsApp group, we have had a huge amount of conversation, and I have forgotten these people totally. Moved on. It was for a prospect, they inquired, I have sent a proposal, etc., etc. It did not work out. They have totally moved away from my memory. 3 years later, this senior person messages me saying, hi Harish, how are you doing? It's been so long we spoke. And I'm like, who are you? And then when we were speaking in WhatsApp, he tagged one of the previous messages and replied, but I had changed phone, so I don't have that stock, so I couldn't see it. That's when I realized, holy shit, okay, there exists some pre-context to this. And then I was also playing around with this person that, oh, hi, how are you? It's been so long. I've been following you here and there. And then I've been very happily playing around. I didn't do any flop show. During that conversation is when he said that, Harish, we spoke to you 3 years back over a call. We had only one call with you. But then only we decided that whenever we are ready for branding and product and doing all of this rebrand, etc., we want to do only with you. It was Frozen Iris time. With Frozen Iris only. When we had a call with you, you were very brutal in telling us that you don't need it now. And then you gave us an explanation on why engaging on this exercise is not correct for us. Now I think we are ready and we want to work with you only. And whatever proposal you sent to us back earlier, we will work on the same thing. And I'm like, wait, that has to change now. But that gave me an idea, that gave me a symptom that every single call that you're having with the person, you need to add value to them, really get into that consulting shoes and tell them what is the right thing to do. I don't have the memory of the previous conversation, but from what they said, I had really told them that you should not invest money on branding right now because as a company, your priority has to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then I have said that don't look for agencies, go do something else. Which is me telling, don't give me money, right? But I do tend to do that because we are doing our own business and then we understand where investing and prioritizing right is very critical for your growth. So telling someone put money, do branding, and then in a couple of months or years, if they shut shop, your work also shut shops. So we want to be cautious of the fact that it is also the right thing for the business to do at that point in time. But the TLDR version of what I'm trying to say here is in every single conversation, create useful value for the client or the organization or the individual so that you create deep memory in them. So that whenever they need something, they think of you. That's the best thing that you can do. And this call is, I will really cherish this for a long period of time, because if someone is remembering that conversation for 3
Yeah.
years, I was
Must have
very
made an
happy.
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. And yeah, I think I have a similar story where a client came again after 2 years, and they mentioned that okay, he could
Exactly.
work on something, though it didn't work out. But that's not the point.
Exactly.
It's
They
about
remember you.
yeah.
Yeah. See, we are in a very on-demand service.
Yeah.
You don't know when someone would need what. So, yeah.
I think main idea is to be just this is what I've learned is that to be authentic. I think you should the main idea is to sell is not sell.
Exactly.
Right? I think not a lot of and especially B2B sales, right?
Exactly.
It's like people who are decision makers, CXOs. That reminds me of this thing that you're doing. You've been doing a roundtable CMO
Yeah, correct.
roundtable.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that. Like, what you trying? You did one in Delhi.
I think we
How
did
was it?
4 episodes now. We did one in
So are you like
Bangalore.
recording and like
No, the
publishing
goal
it
was
or-
not to
Yeah.
record it actually.
Nice.
So when I'm having this conversation with prospects, CMOs, CEOs, directors, etc., this one-on-one is all brilliant conversation, right? People open up. You're talking about things that did not work, the mistakes that they have made, what worked, what did not work, who they hired, how they fired, what was good, what was bad. So many things comes up in the conversation. And then I realized in one conversation that there was a pattern of mistakes that everyone was doing. That kind of made me feel sad that people are making the same mistake again and again because one party does not share, the other party does not get to listen, so you also do the same mistake. So collectively, the growth is impacted in a huge way.
Yeah.
Because you are interfacing with them, you get to absorb all of this. It's a free learning for you. That is when the thought came in that these are a community for marketers. You can say design, but still marketing as a department is what leverages design and puts it into money.
Even branding is marketing.
Yeah,
in the
branding
end.
comes under
A lot of
marketing,
design
but-
is marketing.
Exactly. So from a design lens, from a brand lens, can we call in these marketers, put them in a safe space, a closed room that is not recorded, and create a space where we can actually rant with each other, positive rant, negative rant, tell deep stories, which gives you insight. So we open the roundtable by saying that this has to be the most contributing conversation that you will have today. So don't say, I did a campaign, it did not work. People need to break it down. What did they do? How many people were in the team? What was the campaign? How did they come into leadership? How did they track the results? Did it work? Did it not work? Why did it not work? Did a fight happen internally? How did you resolve it? So when you give it in a contextual way, then it becomes easy for the other party to learn and not do it, or learn and do it if it's a positive thing as well. And then now we are trying to gamify that conversation so that people share more. So it's intended to be not a recording, closed door, exclusive roundtable. And then we also bring people from different perspectives. We are not doing B2B, D2C sector specific. We have been doing agnostic because in design and marketing, it is about mixing and matching different perspectives and learning what works for others, what did not, so that collectively we will grow. So that has been working very, very well. And the conversation goes on till 11 o'clock, 11:30 in Gurgaon. We packed up at 11:30. People are not ready to leave. The place had to shut down. It's a co-working
Nice.
space, so they
Yeah.
had to leave. So I've been really enjoying that.
Like the purpose served.
Purpose served. The kind of insights you're getting from that is wow. You will not find it in Google and LinkedIn and Instagram motivation quotes. Real raw stuff.
Lovely.
We just wanted to experiment, and I'm very glad that it's working. Now we are doing the 5th episode and it's already full. Now people are coming and asking, can we come and attend? And we have been curating. I really like it. I'm glad we decided to do.
All right, Hari. So that brought us to the end of our amazing and super insightful podcast. But what do you think where are we heading? Like, since everyone's like a little scared about AI, people are adamant about extending their marketing funds. They're trying to, minimize their marketing costs and stuff like that. For agency business, for creative businesses, what do you think we are, which side we are going, like in next 5 years, 10 years? Do you think more in-house teams that's gonna work, or do you think there's a way for agencies as well? What are your thoughts around it?
I have a couple of scenarios. I don't know what will turn out. There will be a AI director in-house who is a designer, strategist, problem solver, developer. So now with AI coming in, AI is a beautiful opportunity that kind of makes the market, it balances the market. You can be a social media star, or you can be a person who's out of the radar. Today there is a big imbalance. Someone who's socially deeply penetrated has a higher leverage than someone who is not social. But with AI, your outcome will really shine, because AI really democratizes the power for everyone to create faster, easier, which has not happened so far. If you have to learn Photoshop, you're 6 months away from becoming a pro, right?
Yeah.
You want to use Blender, Cinema 4D, whatever, Figma. The tooling curve is very high. But today, the tooling learning curve has become significantly smaller, where your thought interfaces with the system much faster, easier. So this is a big victory for creatives, so-called creatives or so-called problem solver, because your time to value is much shorter. Let's say you are inviting 10 companies to give ideas, pitch. I hope pitch does not exist tomorrow, but now your ability to conceive your thought and show it in a remarkable way is much easier, right? So I think AI is a neutralizer and puts all of us at a reset, which allows us to actually show your true capability. Something that all of us now need to do is invest a significant amount of time in being relevant and updated with the changes that's happening in the market, and become a pro who can use all of these AI tools. And again, as you said, be authentic. You have a natural inclination on creating something. For that creation, what are the set of tools that you need to do to make yourself better? That is something that is a must for all of us to do. Today, people who capitalize social or figured out how social works are people who are winning the game, right? Branding, PR, marketing, blah, blah, blah. In a very similar way, now people who hone the AI skills will be the winner of tomorrow. Hiring internally will continue to happen, but it will continue to be a challenge as well, because now the market has more number of designers, so finding a most right accurate talent will become a challenge. But on the other side, you're also seeing a lot of AI agents that's coming up for tiny pieces of work.
No.
So the in-house person will more or less be a strategizer or a director who will orchestrate between few consultancy, few agencies, and a lot of AI agents. I also envision a future where Deepak will have 4 AI agents. Harish will have 4 AI agents. And this customer will use one of your agent, one of my agent, and one of someone else's agent. And there will be a marketing manager or a CMO who will balance all of these
Leveraging
things,
three
right?
of
Your
three brains
agentic
now.
AI is good in email responses. Mine is good in color system. They both will talk, and that guy will say click yes or no, and then we'll manage it. Right?
Sounds like a fun future.
Where you don't need to work, but your agent AI will go work and give you some few dollars, and mine will give me few dollars. So now it becomes a competition of thought, originality, real hardcore problem solving. Your agent AI does. So let's take AI SDRs, right? There are so many AI SDRs that is coming into.
I think AI for sales is still have a. I think that still
Exactly.
needs to.
So now this outcome as a service is coming into the game, right? If this SDR gives me 10 leads, I'll give you 10%. If this SDR gives me 4 leads, I'll give you 4%, whatever. So now it becomes a pure problem solving perspective. So who solves better problems will get a better market share. I think that's the future that we are kind of going towards. But it's a right opportunity that kind of neutralizes everyone, everything.
Yeah.
Blank slate.
No fluffs.
No fluffs.
Real shit. Yeah.
Use your brain. Create something novel.
Yeah.
Meaningful, and then it's a massive opportunity that exists out there. Because now, you can be a 10-member team just by being a one person. Yeah.
Lovely. I mean, I agree with that, and that sounds like a future that needs a lot of work as well. Like, while a lot of tasks can be given to AI, but at the same time, you need to focus on the mission.
Yeah, good amount of execution will be taken care of.
And people will only, I feel that they will only reach out to you for like very high quality work.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's anyways a non-negotiable.
High
if you
quality
want.
work will become the lowest hygiene.
Yeah, that's like a non-negotiable. All right, Harish. I think it was an amazing conversation. Thanks again for hopping on the podcast.
Thank you. Hope it was useful. Yeah.